Prime Minister has just voted here at Marrickville West Primary School in his own electorate of Grayndler, joined by fiancée Jodie and his son Nathan. Obviously, he would have voted for himself, the only vote he can truly count on election day. But after a 35-day campaign, his fate now rests in the hands of the 18 million Australian voters. The PM started his day in Melbourne at the MCG on hallowed sporting ground. He repeated his analogy that he likes to kick with the wind in the fourth quarter, or in other words, be ahead in the polls when it matters, and he is. The latest news poll published in The Australian puts Labor ahead of the coalition 52.5% to 47.5% after preferences. All major published opinion polls are pointing to a Labor victory, but they vary as to whether Labor can pick up enough seats to govern in majority. Anthony Albanese says he's working to ensure Labor can govern in its own right.
3 million Australians have on average a $5,500 incentive to vote Labor today and to make sure that we have a majority Labor government.
After the MCG, the PM stopped by the ultra-marginal Liberal-held seat of Menzies. It's one Labor believes it actually might be able to pick up tonight. Of all the states, Victoria is where the Labor brand is perhaps at its weakest. So if it manages to win a seat in the state, it would be a big morale boost. But after 5 weeks, 35 days, the election campaign is drawing to a close. And after 6 o'clock tonight, the Prime Minister will learn if he's made history, becoming the first Prime Minister in 21 years to win consecutive elections.
Jane Norman with that report there, and Opposition Leader Peter Dutton has voted in his electorate of Dickson in a tightly stage-managed event. Lexi Hamilton-Smith is on the ground.
I live in Brisbane, so I know Dickson is a big electorate. It can take an hour, Kath, to drive from one end to the other. So we had to take the punt that maybe he'd be heading north to Strathpine. In the meantime, our crew on the bus is texting, we're on Rhodey Road. We think we're heading to the Eatons Hill Hotel. So my crew, we rush there, unpack. No, we're going to McDowell State School. Pack up again, get to McDowell. No, wrong place, back to the hotel. No, we're finally stopped at Albany Creek State School. So we got here in time. Of course, the Paul crew is with him, and that's why they're tightly managing this whole day, because the Dutton campaign, as you know, have been hijacked, particularly by anti-nuclear protesters, and that's the last thing they wanted to see on this day. So no one really knew where he was going to be, and certainly once they piled back on that bus, they had no idea where they were going after that as well. They weren't that happy to see any local media there as well, because the media team that's travelling with him on the LNP side wants to tightly restrict what media access the opposition leader media can get to him as the polls start to close towards 6 o'clock. So, it was all a bit tense at one point, but it was nice to see he was with his family, he was with his wife and his 3 children, got to come and say hello. And there was a really nice gesture just at the end as he was jumping back in the car to rush off to his next campaign spot. Let's have a quick listen.
There's millions of blind Australians right throughout this election campaign.
Saying goodbye to his family there, saying I love you to his kids, a nice intimate moment that was caught by the cameras, as much of the actions are in the last 35 days. It's the end, Lexi, of a long, frenetic, often challenging contest between the two main party leaders. What was Peter Dutton's mood like today?
Yeah, well, interesting, as you say, it was so nice to see that nice soft side of him, because a lot of the criticism is that we haven't seen that. He's really smiled throughout the campaign, and today, apart from that tiny little intimate moment, he's very tense. He had his game face on for election day. He kept reiterating all the reasons why people should vote for the LNP and why they deserve to be in power. So, he is looking under pressure and tense, and as I said, stage managing local media like us coming in, worried that we might throw a few questions at him that we weren't allowed to, or that might not be appropriate, or that protesters may turn up with advance knowledge of where he is. So they are very nervous about what the outcome of this campaign will be. And, already, as we know, Peter Dutton has been quiz today about if he could lose his seat, which is a margin of 1.7%, the most marginal in Queensland, and also other questions from the media. He's been peppered with if you lose, will you stand aside? So they were not the kind of questions he certainly wanted to be asked from people like me today. But anyway, he's voted. A few more hours to go, and we can all sit back at home and watch the election campaign.